What's going on, guys? Andrew Piluk Hockey here, back again with another video. Today I'm going to be looking at some more Toronto Maple Leaf trade rumors. There was something that was tweeted out by a certain source. I don't really want to name this source, but I feel like this rumor has come out the past couple of years from this source and other sources that might not be the most reliable, and it revolves around Colton Parayko and the Toronto Maple Leafs. Now we know he's a big right-handed shot defenseman on the St. Louis Blues, of course, Stanley Cup champion St. Louis Blues. So just add that to the resume for Colton Parayko. But the Leafs are always going to be attached to Colton Parayko as long as he's on the Blues. They're going to be attached to defensemen on other teams. I want to let you guys know because in the last video and even the video before that, people are confused why I make these videos. I'm not saying that this is a 100% guarantee this rumor's true, the trade's going to happen. These are my thoughts on what the rumors have been saying and whether or not I believe it's true or not. I need to come out first and say I do not believe that this is a legitimate thing, but if it is, we're just going to take a look at what the trade could look like, what the rumored trade would look like, and why it would make sense for both sides if it does or not. So the St. Louis Blues obviously have a lot of decisions to make. Of course, Alex Pietrangelo, a lot of people would like the Leafs to sign him. I just made a video on that. If you want to go check it out, I moved around the Leafs roster with Cap Friendly and tried to do that. So check out Cap Friendly. I love that site. But the video is on my channel right now. And then I also looked at some other trades and stuff. There's tons of content coming. Just to let you guys know, I'm having a lot of fun with the way I set up these videos. But they have Pietrangelo. They signed Justin Falk. And by the way, Leaf fans, please stop asking for the Leafs to somehow acquire Justin Falk. He is not good defensively. He's overpaid and he's not good in his own zone. He is quite equivalent to an overpaid style of play that you guys hated Jake Gardiner for playing. Jake Gardiner has better defensive stats than him his entire time in Toronto than Falk did in Carolina. He's overpaid on St. Louis. They're in on that contract. They have to try to get rid of it. Toronto's not going to be the team to take that on. I would also like to add that unless Pietrangelo takes a significant pay cut, he will not be coming to the Toronto Maple Leafs. Just throwing that out there. It doesn't make a ton of sense. But again, if you want to see my thoughts on that, check the video. Parayko seems to be the guy that has a good contract, which we'll get to in a second, good stats, and pretty good defensively. In these playoffs, a lot of St. Louis fans, including all hockey fans, would say that Parayko was exposed a little bit in terms of his defensive play. He wasn't all that good. But again, Leaf fans see a big name and they think all of them are defensive gods and all of them are amazing. Just because they're a big right-handed shot defenseman doesn't mean the Leafs or just because that they're a big right-handed shot defenseman doesn't mean they're amazing defensively. It's the same thing that Leaf fans have this fascination with Matt Dumba. He throws a lot of hits. He's doing a lot right now, of course, with what's going on right now. And I salute him for standing up what he believes in and trying to make right of what's going on. But separating, let's obviously just talking about hockey here. Matt Dumba is not amazing defensively like everybody thinks he is. He's really not. He throws a lot of hits. He's good offensively. He's injury prone and he's not amazing defensively. It's basically like acquiring another Tyson Barrie. So if you want to do that, be my guest, but it's not going to happen. Colton Parayko, let's look at his numbers here. So last year, this past previous season, 19-20 season, 64 games played, he had 28 points. The season before that, in 80 games, he also had 28 points. He was a plus 20 in the 18-19 season, plus 8 in the shortened season this year. And I'm not a huge fan of plus minus, but those are his numbers. He's been pretty good since he entered the league, as you can see. Moving on, this is his contract. This is the the sexy part of Colton Parayko because he has a really good contract for being a big right-handed shot defenseman that plays a lot of minutes. So he's getting paid $5.5 million annually for the next couple years. So the Leafs would take on the next 2 years of his contract. Now, before I get any further, the proposed deal that the Leafs would be sending to St. Louis would be for Colton Parayko. The Leafs would send over the first-round pick that they just acquired from Pittsburgh, which is the 15th overall selection, Andreas Johnsson, who has a couple years left on his deal at $3.4 million, and Timothy Liljegren, arguably the second best prospect in the Leaf system. I would say probably the third because it goes Sandin or Robertson, Sandin, Liljegren, in my opinion. Here's the thing. Why would the Blues want another young right-handed shot defenseman unless it's just a cap move and they believe Liljegren can step in and provide them offense on a third pairing. Maybe, I don't know. I feel like they might be going after a left shot guy, especially if they keep guys like Pietrangelo and Falk around. And then they obviously have other defensemen in their system. So I'm not really sure how valuable Liljegren is to them unless they move on from multiple pieces on their back end. But Liljegren is a good prospect. He would make a lot of sense. I don't know if the Leafs would even want to give up on him. Andreas Janssen is, coming off an injury-riddled season. He can put up points. He's a good hockey player, but whether or not the Blues value him is, again, up in the air. He would probably fit in on their third or fourth line, which a fourth line $3.4 million player doesn't make sense. So he would have to play on their third line, which they have players that play a similar style to him already on that team. And then you have that first-round pick that they could use in another trade. Maybe they want to dump the Falk contract somewhere else. They have to use a first-round pick, or they actually want to use that selection, whatever. So that would be the proposed deal. I'm not really sure if that's enough to pry Parayko out of there, or if the Leafs are giving up too much. I don't know if it's a fair deal. Right now, to me, it kind of looks like, oh, here's a bunch of random things that are pretty good value. I mean, a first-round pick, a good prospect, and a guy who could score 20 goals seems pretty damn good for a defenseman. But again, it's how much you value those pieces and how much value those pieces have for a team like St. Louis. So you have to come up with maybe a better package or rearrange something. I've seen some Leaf fans say that it's too much. I've seen some Leaf fans say that it's good. I've seen some Blues fans say that it's a terrible offer, that it's a good offer. It's up in the air. Nobody knows. But that's the fun of it. I think it's just a rumor. But again, we'll move on. So this is what I wanted to bring up next. So let's take a look at some statistics, and more importantly, the gray highlight that you see there is hits. Now, a lot of Leaf fans want physical defensemen. They want to bring in a guy that's going to hit a bunch of people, basically bring that style of play that the Leafs don't have a ton of. They basically only have it from Jake Muzzin. And you can see in 53 games played, he had 109 hits, and his average time on ice was 21.36 minutes. And you can see the time on ice, it says TOI. That is at the very last column. And you can see Jake Muzzin there. You have Cody Ceci through 92 hits in, I believe, 56 games, and he only played 20 minutes and 32 seconds. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of Cody Ceci, but he did throw a few hits here and there. Justin Hall, 68 games played, 89 hits in 18 minutes and 31 seconds. Travis Dermott, 76 hits in only 56 games played. He got a little feisty towards the end there, and 17 minutes and 19 seconds. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up is because, again, there's a misconception that every defenseman that the Leafs is interested in, and every Leaf fan seems to think that all these defensemen are all physical, they're all big, huge bodies that throw hits, and the Leafs need every single one of them. Now, Colton Parayko is not that guy. He's not overly physical like everybody thinks he is. He's just kind of in the middle. As you can see, he played in 64 games and threw 87 hits. Blocked shots, he had 106. That's where the value would be. He plays pretty well. But look at his average time on ice. 23 minutes. So he played in more games than most of those Leafs defensemen like Hall, Muzzin, Dermott, Ceci. He played in more games. He played more minutes and was throwing either less or around the same amount of hits, but he was playing more. So it's not like Parayko is like out of this world physical. Like I'm seeing it all over Twitter that Leaf fans think that this guy is a bulldozer. Every defenseman that Leaf fans are interested in are not physical. He is pretty physical, not overly physical, but please stop overrating defensemen when it comes to their play in the physical end of things. Please stop it. It's getting ridiculous. Please, I'm honestly begging you at this point because it's ridiculous. All right, so this is how the Leafs would fit Colton Parayko in the lineup. They would have $616,000 left according to this lineup. Now, a lot of people are like, where's Mikheyev? Guys, you can make your pick. You could bury Engvall in the minors. You could trade Engvall and replace him with Mikheyev. He's going to have to sign a cheaper deal this year because he was injured and didn't play well in the playoffs. Evan Rodriguez is the guy that they just signed, or the guy that they just acquired in the deal with Pittsburgh, and he's probably a guy that the Leafs would be interested in getting, maybe for less than that, what I just put up, the 1.5 million. Probably around the 1,200,000 mark, hopefully. But regardless, this is just me throwing a team together. Much of the same forward top six group there with Robertson in there. Evan Rodriguez is there. Pierre Engvall, Barabanov, and Korshkov are guys that you're hoping can make good impressions on this team. I think Korshkov would be great on that fourth line. And then you bring back Jason Spezza, who wants to come back. Then the defense is much as the same, or you could try to trade Justin Hall to try to get another player there. If you also trade Engvall, bring in Mikheyev, you can mix and match whatever you feel like, but Parayko would obviously be playing with Morgan Riley, in my opinion. Hall and Muzzin would stay together, and then you could use Sandin and Lettinen on your bottom pair. And of course, Janssen and Liljegren are not in this lineup because they would have been a part of the trade. Again, bunch of different options here that you could go with. This was the team that I assembled. I don't think that this team is amazing. I don't think that they're much better, but they are better because you're bringing in a guy that can play those big minutes with Morgan Riley and at least give you a sound defensive performance. And again, I have to say it, St. Louis Blues fans brought it up that he did get exposed a little bit in the playoffs this year. He didn't look that great defensively, but again, it depends on who you're playing him with. I think if you're playing him with Morgan Riley, you're probably going to get a pretty decent game out of Parayko. If you're playing him with Muzzin, you might even have more success because Muzzin will be able to shield him a little bit, so he'll be able to do a little bit more. And then you play Justin Hall with Morgan Riley. I don't know, because Justin Hall was not very good without Jake Muzzin. So again, you have to kind of mix and match and see what would work. But that team that I brought up there was the team that they could assemble if they did decide to go after Colton Parayko. And again, I'm going to say this a million times. This is just a trade rumor piece. I'm not saying it's 100% going to happen. And I'm also not saying that this is all true, because this is just my thoughts on what's been spread out there. And again, it could be true. I don't know. That's up to you guys to decide. Maybe we hear more from insiders that have like reliable sources. But again, it's up to you. Take everything with a grain of salt, and just be careful what you're retweeting, because it could be fake. So if you are new to this channel, make sure to subscribe. Make sure to recommend what videos you want to see next. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video or stream. Peace.